Hello, and welcome. Sorry, I was having like some very strange, uh, very strange, like internet connection. Like it's been totally fine, and the moment I hit go live, it was just like bye bye, no internet connection. I'm like, wait, what the hell? So I got up to check my internet, and it said that it was working. It was so strange. Sorry if I went MIA for a second. Sorry, James. I am back. I promise my internet is working. I promise I can afford to pay for it. I did just pay for it yesterday, so I don't know why I was having this, but I am here. So nice to see you guys. Hi, Tim. Hi, Mark. Um, James said something very funny, and the moment I read that, the internet just went bloop. You said, should I start feeling sad about tonight's topic, or will there be some hope? Um, no, please don't. There's no need to feel sad. I think there's just I think it's just I wanted to talk about it today mainly because it's just something that has been going through my mind for a bit. I have a possible guest joining us from New York City today. I'm hoping that she's going to be able to join us. She said that she's going to be able to join us. Um, so there's that. No, please, no need to feel sad. Please do not feel sad. If anything, this is just information. Oh, Tim, you're so sweet. Look at Tim, just like Mona is so beautiful. You're so sweet. And Mark is like, Mona, you're awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the lovely and kind words and fantastic self-esteem boost. That is much needed today, actually. So thank you. I took an hour-long walk today in my neighborhood just to clear my head. I've just been thinking about a lot of stuff, which I usually do. And I was really thinking about today's topic, and I was like, man, I've been doing a lot of political stuff. I've been talking a lot about Trump. And I think probably get sick and tired of listening to it because it's just everywhere. It's in your face, It's like you can't even avoid it. It's like even when you listen to comedy shows, like everybody's talking about it. So today I wanted to take a bit of a detour and talk about my personal life. I think mainly because I usually touch upon it, but I never really go into the details of my life. And I thought that today maybe I'll make it a little bit more. Invite you guys in a little bit more in my life and give you a glimpse of the lovely traumas I have grown up with. To answer James's question, James, is there hope? Yes, there is hope. Why? Because I'm sitting here having this fantastic Facebook and YouTube live with you guys, and I'm able to even during the quarantine, being fortunate enough to have these conversations and to still do the things that I love. So yes, there is absolutely a hope. However, the journey to this place, to this very moment, has been a very long, strenuous, painful, traumatic journey. But we're here. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that you guys are in my life. So I'm very grateful for that. Tim said, we love you, Mona. I love you too, Tim. I love you guys. Thank you always for being so kind and always being for being so supportive. It really means a lot. It really does. You guys are my army. My super fans. So I love you guys. I wanted to actually start off with something that I came across in the Indian matchmaking show on Netflix, which was goat yoga. Have you guys seen this? Apparently in Texas, it's a thing where people do yoga with goats, where they're like in downward dog position and the goat jumps on top of your back. And I was like, wow, they're trying to change the phrase monkey on your back to goat on your back. I guess that's the new phrase that they're trying to go with. But I think what really messed with me was the fact, first of all, I was laughing really hard because I thought it was so fucking stupid. But I think the other thing was, it's like, man, Indians spend hundreds of years perfecting the art of yoga, right? Something that's for your mental, spiritual, physical discipline and practices that will help humanity. And then some white people came along and you're like, you know what yoga is missing? Goats. That's what yoga is missing. Let's throw some goats in there so that they will jump on people or stop you from doing yoga, which was the whole fucking point of doing yoga. But hey, let's throw goats in there because they're going to come and interrupt your yoga flow. While yoga is supposed to be about concentration and meditating and connecting oneself and and like quieting your mind. No, 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 no. Some white people thought, let's throw in some fucking goats in there and see how these people are going to be able to maintain their concentration. Right. That's exactly what I need. It's like going to sleep and then having some kind of like a distraction thrown in. I don't know, maybe like some kind of rock music playing in the background. Be like, please do feel free to try to go to sleep. There's only going to be this rock music blasting in the corner, but please knock yourself out. No, that's ridiculous. I feel sorry for the goats. I don't think it's right. I think it's abusive towards the goats. I would rather. I don't know if you guys have ever had goat meat. Goat is delicious, especially when you cook it really well in some good Indian style cooking. Goats are delicious. However, I would rather eat goats than have them jump on my back during a yoga session. I'm not down for that. Mark said, as a teen, I had a pet goat. He was the neighborhood therapy. Folks would come to wrestle Billy. Nobody said we were original in name the goat. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Billy the goat. I've heard of Billy the goat before. I think that's a pretty common name for goats. Billy's a very valid name, but goat meat is delicious. So sorry, vegan and vegetarian folks, but that's just my take on goat. I grew up eating goat in Pakistan, and the goat meat is delicious. Okay, and I just wanted to kind of put that out there. I don't know. I just thought fucking goats in the middle of yoga was just straight up weird. I just thought it was very strange. All right, let's get to the juicy stuff. Let's get to it, people. I am like nervous about sharing this part of my life because I don't think I've ever publicly talked about these kind of specific stories. I'm definitely a little apprehensive, if that's the word, to describe this. But I do want to talk about it, I think, mainly because hoping that it might help someone. I feel like pain and trauma have this strange attachment of like shame. There's like a shame attached to it. When you don't talk about it, it builds up this level of guard and shame in your psyche and in your heart, where you're like, oh my God, nobody should ever learn this part of my life ever, because if they do, then they'll never love me, or they'll never respect me, or they'll look at me as like this weirdo. And maybe I should just hide it. And I think that's probably the demon that sits on your shoulder that tells you that somehow when you share you make yourself vulnerable, that somehow that is a weakness. Somehow that when you share your personal life with somebody or stories about your personal life, it makes you weak, or it makes you I don't know, maybe to some people it's like being a whiny little bitch. Hopefully I won't be a whiny little bitch. That's not my intention. My intention is to be truthful and honest, and hopefully not just empowering myself, but I guess hopefully empowering somebody else in the process who's listening to the story, so they know that they're not alone, and that I mean, look, the pandemic is already bringing out so much stress and so much depression in so many people. People are feeling so isolated. People are feeling alone. There's definitely so much uncertainty. I think a lot of folks are really unsure about their future. People don't even know what's going to happen 2 months from now, let alone 6 months from now. 2020 has been a really garbage year. I just found out today that one of my very, really dear friends' husband just got diagnosed with prostate cancer. So I'm just like, dude, this week is definitely, we're only on Wednesday, and this week is like kicking the crap out of me. Yesterday, I learned an actress friend of mine, very talented, 47 years old, got diagnosed with leukemia early July, and she passed away yesterday. So it's just been a bit of a shit show. And I think because I live alone, I think it makes me reflect a lot of things about my life, and things that have shaped my life to be where I am today. And also just gratefulness. I think there's a lot of gratitude that comes with knowing that, look, there are people whose immune systems are compromised. There are people who don't know that they're going to even live up to be 48 or 49, like my friend Royanna did. She just didn't know. My friend's husband getting diagnosed with prostate cancer. I mean, these are just very valid things that are happening, and it gives me a lot of gratitude. So I do want to point out that I grew up in a very tumultuous household. I mean, that's a true story. My father started off with he was a business guy. He was a very successful business guy. Ended up becoming a pretty big, successful business guy in Karachi in Pakistan. But his early years were very, very rough. Like my mom was only 17. My dad was 23 when they got married. By the time my mom turned 23 or 24, I was her fifth child. So they were just like popping out kids left and right. And I asked my mom, I was like, "Ma, did you live near a friggin' train station? Like, you guys didn't have any other forms of entertainment? Like, why did you just keep popping children?" And my mom was like, "It is God's gift." And I'm like, okay, let's just stop it there. Let's just stop it right there, people. Okay? It is not just God's gift. Okay? Humans have something to do with it. Okay? And this is how God's gift comes into the world. So stop it. But my parents also had their own share of traumas and their own share of fucked up childhoods that they grew up with. My mom was the oldest of her four sisters. She had three younger sisters. She was born after three boys, and my mom was very quickly married off at the age of 17, and she really resented that very, very early on. And she expressed that to us as a child, that why she was just married off as if she was a fucking burden on the family. And she was just like, I never understood that. She's like, they never did that to my brothers. They never treated my brothers. I was the one who had to be rushed off and married off as if I was some kind of a burden on my family. And my father's side of the family, on the other hand, they were the people who were the real entrepreneurs. They were the people with money. My mom's side of the family did not have a lot of money, but my dad's side of the family, my paternal grandfather, was a very smart and ambitious man. And when they migrated from India to Pakistan, they came with nothing. And this is a really great story about entrepreneurship about my grandfather, is that my grandfather, when they moved from India to Pakistan, there was no, it's a brand new country, right? People are just trying to figure stuff out. My mom tells me the story that when they migrated from India to Pakistan, my mom wasn't even born then, but this is my maternal grandmother telling me the story. When they migrated from India to Pakistan, you would just land wherever you landed, and you would just take over whatever property you saw and that you liked. My mom and my mom's family moved into this mansion. They tell me this crazy. My grandmother tells me this crazy story. It was a beautiful mansion that they moved into. It was totally abandoned. And when they got there, they saw books. They saw there was some British family, some British royal, it's not a royal family, but like a British soldier family who was like a lieutenant or a colonel or something. And he lived there, and his kids left their reading books behind. And my grandmother tells me the story about how they would go to the train station to greet, relatives coming in, migrating from India to Pakistan. And the trains would arrive with every single person dead on the train. This is the kind of fucked up shit like my grandparents had experienced, and vice versa. I mean, it was the same thing happening on the Indian side, right? People were just butchering each other left and right. It is literally one of the worst genocides in the history of humanity, of how many people were displaced and how many people were murdered. My grandmother tells me the story that when they would go, she said, not only would the adults be murdered, like they would murder the children too. Like the babies' throats would be slit, and people would go, and the entire train would just be full of dead bodies. You wouldn't be able to. Nobody was alive. They would kill everyone on the train. My grandfather's side, on the other hand, my grandfather and I, we never really had that kind of relationship where they were very expressive and talkative. But the one story that my father told me about my grandfather is that when they migrated, there wasn't a lot of work. People had to find a way to make living, because you have to understand that people were given like kind of overnight notices, like overnight. Imagine Imagine a cop or a military person coming to you, knocking on your door, and says, "Hey, pack up whatever you can. You're leaving. You're leaving tomorrow. You're moving to the other side because you're Muslim or because you're Christian or whatever your faith is. You have to move because of your faith." And that's what happened to my grandparents. They had to literally pack their shit and leave. And when my grandfather migrated from India to Pakistan, they had to leave all their properties behind. They had to leave all their assets behind. Like, they came poor. Like, they had nothing. They had to build their lives from scratch. And my dad was a baby. So of course he couldn't help. He was a tiny little baby. And my grandfather was such a smart guy. He used to mend tires. He used to fix the punctures of the tires of like rickshaws and like cars. That's what my grandfather started doing. And he realized, he was like, man, this is a new country. People need transportation. They want to be able to get from point A to point B. There's not a lot of vehicles around for people to be able to get around this country, to get around the city, which was Karachi. So my grandfather started driving a rickshaw and made enough money and realized, I mean, you talk about entrepreneurship, right? My grandfather realized that because it was a brand new country and people didn't know how to drive, that there was a lot of money to be made in teaching people how to drive, because eventually people were going to be able to make enough money to go buy themselves a car or a motorbike or whatever. So my grandfather, what he started doing is that he had four sons, right? So my dad was number three in line. And what he started doing with his sons is that he taught his oldest son how to drive a car.